I often get asked what got me into motorcycling or why I like to ride motorcycles. There's a lot of stuff out there about the benefits of riding motorcycles, and if you're watching this video, you might be on the fence if you should get a bike, and I'll just say get a motorcycle. If you're already thinking about it, you're always going to wish you had one. I mean, get a license and take a safety course and maybe rent a bike, and that could really determine if you think you should go in and pay for a motorcycle. But I want to do 10 reasons, I guess, why to get a motorcycle. Or 10 reasons why I or others really like riding motorcycles and doing motorcycling. And this is in no particular order, but the first one I think of is it does improve cognitive functioning. When you're riding, you have to be more alert. You have to be aware of your surroundings. There's a lot of different studies that it increases your dopamine. So it helps reduce depression. It helps increase happiness and reduction in stress. That alone, I think, is a huge part of it. And also, when you're riding, you have to focus so much on the road and being hyper vigilant that kind of all the stresses in your life you put aside. It's not that they go away, your stress is still there. It follows you. You're your own person. But there's a lot of behavioral health and mental health, I should say, benefits to ride a motorcycle. Number 2, motorcycling can be a workout. You battle against the wind with your core. You use more than just your arms to ride a bike. I think a lot of people think it's just steering with your arms, but you're using your legs, you're using your core, stopping, starting, all these different things like that. Your neck actually improves in strength. I have a good friend who has an actual neck machine that he uses to try to improve his neck, but motorcycling is one of those things that you improve your neck. Of course, that's from wearing a helmet and just, battling the wind. And I actually, when I say battling the wind with your core, that seems negative, but it's really not. It's fun. It's a great way to get that little exercise in there. The third reason is you get to meet new people. People love to talk about motorcycles. You're part of a bigger group and you may not have realized it. Motorcycling, it's not taboo and it's not subculture, although there are some. But everywhere you go, if someone is a rider, they typically come and talk to you. Or if you go to an event, at least you have something to talk to with other riders. It's not like going up and trying to become friends with a stranger. You can go up and have a conversation on something that you agree with. It's a great way if you're looking for ways to expand your social network on meeting new friends and finding new things to do in your area. Number 4, although I'm already although I'm already perfect and professional at this, you actually become a better driver. I think you become more aware of the nuances and the things that bother you about other drivers and the vehicles on the road. So you become better at driving from it. You're more aware of motorcycles and your surroundings. So you're on the lookout already. You're looking out for any other hazards or looking out for people not to hurt them. And you get to find out what your pet peeves are of others and when they're in a car, and then you don't do that yourself. Number 5, it's better on parking. That almost seems stupid to even have to say that, but it's true. If you live in a big city or maybe you're going to school and your campus is tight on parking, you can almost park anywhere on a motorcycle. I mean, there's certain places that have different laws about parking on sidewalks and whatnot, but for the most part, you could almost park anywhere. Even those tight-fitting spots between cars, you can back in. It's easier to back in, I think, than most people. A lot of people back in their vehicles, like their cars and trucks, when they park, but not everyone's comfortable with backing. But it is significantly easier, I would say, to navigate backing on a motorcycle. Now, some people are not comfortable with backing a motorcycle up. They feel like, the weight can get pushed to one side or the other, and so it makes you a little nervous that you're going to drop your bike. But this is one of those things that it just takes practice, and once you get used to it, it does make it easier to back up. Number 6 that I wrote down here is it's actually cheaper on road trips. If you're into going on road trips and traveling, now you can't do a big family road trip on a motorcycle, but if you like to get out and experience things and other cyclists, or you're comfortable riding 2-up with someone behind you, it is cheaper on road trips. You get better gas mileage on a motorcycle. The average, I think I saw in a study, was between 30 and 60 miles per gallon. Most bikes, I would say, easily get 40 miles per gallon. And that's great. It gives you the enough miles to go per tank that you get to stop when you need to and stretch your legs to fill up on gas, and it is cheaper. Now, the downside, though, for gas, if you are trying to figure this out, is you do typically need to get premium gas. Now, the motorcycles will run fine on regular unleaded if it's not available, but if you are trying to figure out cost about getting a new motorcycle or getting into motorcycling, they typically like that better gas. They're sports machines for the most part. Number 7 is it's easy to customize. Most motorcycles have tons of aftermarket parts. So if you like a certain pipe on that motorcycle, a muffler, you can change that. There's even customized clothing for it. There is a fashion to motorcycling. Although I'm not a very fashionable person and I'm not necessarily into motorcycle fashion, there's tons of different materials and designs of jackets and riding gear, and there's everything you can customize on your motorcycles there, from blinkers to the housings to mirrors and the grips. I mean, everything is customizable. It's one of the few things about this. I don't think people buy a new car and then think about putting on new mirrors or new seats, but when you buy a motorcycle, there is just parts for everything. It's one of the easiest things to customize and make it into your own. In fact, I think there's certain bikes that you could almost build from scratch by parts that you buy in catalogs. It's kind of unique on that. Number 8 is you can disconnect from technology. Now, I always use a Sena, or there's a lot of different communication devices and Bluetooth for your helmet, and that's what a Sena is. It has headphones and it plays music through the Bluetooth. But really, I'm not fumbling around on my phone. I'm not watching YouTube or on Instagram or Facebook. You're really just there with the road. It's easy to turn it off and just be there. Be in that moment and finding that mindfulness of the surroundings, the wind on your face, the smells in the area. You're not trapped by the car or your vehicle's air filter. You are just there and you're present on the road and in that moment and where you are. Motorcycles, for the most part, are one of the vehicles that have the lowest technology. Now, they are improving more, and there are touchscreens now in some motorcycles, but really, it's just a motorcycle. It's an engine, a bike, and you. That's it. Number 9 is your reflexes. Motorcycling does help with your reflexes. That might seem obvious considering that you're on this two-wheeled machine that's going down the road with no barriers or cages, but it's not as obvious as you might think. You have to be more aware of your surroundings. You have to be quicker with your turns, with your braking, being aware of that infamous left turns, making sure cars see you, honking, checking your mirrors. These little reflexes for making those corners and parking, these really add up over time. And even quickly, you will improve your reflexes. And this can help you in your overall health. It might help you depending on what you do for a living or what you also like to do on your off time, like if you play sports. But your reflexes will improve by that. And number 10, one of the big reasons why I like it, it's a hobby. Motorcycling is one of the greatest hobbies that I have found in my life. It gives me something that's entertaining. It gives me a mode of transportation and something that I just truthfully enjoy. And as most hobbies go, it could be a money pit. You can spend as little money that you want in motorcycling to spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to make custom motorcycles. But part of hobbies that help us grow and find enjoyment is there's a lot of literature you can read up on motorcycles. You can watch videos about motorcycles. You can listen to podcasts about motorcycles. There is a whole culture around motorcycles. So you can find people, like we mentioned before, you can make new people for this. But this hobby can branch you into learning more stuff. You can learn about mechanics. You can learn about customization, color schemes even. There's so much learning that helps you grow and gives you more and more things for you to keep interest in that hobby. And hobbies are just healthy. They're a healthy thing for us to have in our lives. It gives us a break from reality or a break from just the mundane of going in and out of work, the wake up, work, repeat kind of stuff. Instagram's a great place that people share their stories and their pictures of their adventures. And I always try to put up an awesome shot of a motorcycle with a great inspiring quote of some sort. This hobby has really brought out a lot of sense of freedom in me, and just overall that I'm not stuck in the routine or repeating the Groundhog Day of the life. Everyone needs a hobby. If you're listening to this and you feel like you use motorcycling just for transportation and you don't have a hobby, I encourage you to get a hobby of some sort. Thank you guys so much for watching this, liking the channel. Check us out on Instagram. It's just at Two Wheel Break, BREAK. Again, thank you guys so much. Shake things up and go try something new. Take a break. Be good to yourselves.